Have you ever felt that little flutter in your tummy when you're about to do something new? Maybe it's standing in front of your class or looking up at the tallest slide at the playground. That feeling is totally normal. It's just your heart telling you you're about to do something brave. Today we're going to meet two best friends, Abdo and Farah. Abdo, with his super curly hair and bright yellow shirt, loves adventure. And Farah, with her pretty pink bow and even prettier smile, is the smartest and kindest friend anyone could ask for. They do everything together, from building the tallest block towers to drawing magical creatures with their crayons. They're just like you and me. One sunny afternoon, Abdo and Farah were at the park. The birds were singing, the sun was shining, and everything seemed perfect. They saw something new, a giant, colorful rope climbing structure that stretched all the way up to the sky. Well, it felt like it did. All the other kids were scrambling up and down, laughing and cheering. It looked like so much fun. Abdo, who usually runs towards any challenge, stopped. He looked up, and the top seemed so far away. His energetic smile faded just a little. "Wow, Farah," he whispered, "that's really high." Farah looked at the ropes, twisting and turning. She felt it too, that little flutter in her tummy. "It is," she agreed, holding onto her light blue skirt. "What if we fall?" It's a funny thing. Fear, it can make something exciting seem scary. It can make you feel small and the challenge feel big. Abdo and Farah stood there for a moment, just watching. They saw a smaller kid reach the top and wave down with a huge, proud grin. They wanted that feeling. But the fear was like a sticky web, holding their feet to the ground. Abdo took a deep breath. He remembered what his dad always told him. Being brave doesn't mean you not scared. He looked at Farah, whose brown eyes were wide with worry. He knew they could do this, but only if they did it together. "Teamwork makes everything better, right, Farah?" Abdo said, his voice a little stronger now. "What if we just try to climb the first part, just to the red rope? We don't have to go all the way to the top." Farah thought about it. The red rope wasn't so high, it was just a few steps up. She looked at Abdo's kind, determined face and felt a little bit of her own courage start to grow. "Just to the red rope?" she asked. Abdo nodded enthusiastically. "Yeah, together." So they took their first step. Abdo put his hand on the thick rope, and Farah did the same right beside him. Up they went, one foot after the other. It was wobbly, but they held on tight. When they reached the red rope, they looked at each other and grinned. "We did it," Farah cheered. From here, the next rope, the blue one, didn't seem so far away after all. "Okay," Abdo said, feeling more confident. "How about we go to the blue one now?" Farah giggled, her fear melting away with each little success. "Okay?" They kept going, rope by rope, color by color. Sometimes Abdo's foot would slip, but Farah would be right there to say, "You've got it." Sometimes Farah would hesitate, and Abdo would encourage her. "Just one more. You're doing great." They were a team, lifting each other up, not just on the ropes, but with their words, too. This reminds me of another time at school. It was presentation day in class. Everyone had to stand up and talk about their favorite animal. Farah loved pandas. She knew everything about them. She knew they lived in China, ate bamboo, and were excellent climbers, just like her and Abdo were becoming. But the thought of all her classmates looking at her made her feel shy. Her voice felt like it was trapped in her throat. When her name was called, she walked to the front of the class, her heart thumping like a drum. She looked out at all the faces and suddenly forgot everything she wanted to say about pandas. She saw Abdo in the front row, and he gave her a secret, encouraging thumbs up. He mouthed the words, "You can do it." Farah took a quiet breath and remembered something they had talked about in the park. She looked at her teacher and said, in a small voice, "Courage means trying, even if you're afraid." Saying those words out loud was like unlocking a door. Suddenly, she remembered the pandas. She started talking about their black and white fur, their gentle nature, and how they love to play. Her voice got stronger and more confident with every word. When she finished, the whole class clapped, and Abdo was clapping the loudest. Back at the park, Abdo and Farah were now more than halfway up the rope structure. They were high above the ground, and the view was amazing. They could see the whole playground, the swings, the slide, everything. They weren't scared anymore. They were excited. They were having fun. They were so focused on helping each other and reaching the next rope that they forgot to be afraid. They finally reached the very top. They stood on the small wooden platform, holding onto the center pole, side by side. The wind gently blew Farah's long brown hair, and Abdo's face was beaming with the biggest, proudest smile you've ever seen. They did it. They had faced the giant rope monster and won. They looked down at the ground, which now seemed so far below. It didn't look scary anymore. It looked beautiful. They high-fived, their laughter echoing through the park. "We did it, Abdo," Farah shouted with joy. "We really did it," Abdo replied, his voice full of happiness. They had climbed their mountain. As they carefully climbed back down, they felt different. They felt taller, stronger, and braver. They knew they could do anything they set their minds to, especially when they had each other. The fear they felt at the beginning was just a feeling, and they learned that feelings can change. Courage wasn't about not having fear. It was about having fear and trying anyway. Whether it's climbing a tall rope structure, speaking in front of your class, trying a new food, or making a new friend, it's okay to feel a little scared. Abdo and Farah learned that the most important part is to just try. Take that first small step. You might be surprised at how far you can go. Every time you try something that scares you, your courage muscle gets a little bit stronger. Think about Abdo and Farah the next time you feel that flutter in your tummy. Remember their words. Courage means trying. Even if you're afraid, you have a best friend inside you, to our own bravery. And just like Abdo and Farah, when you try, you will shine. You have so much courage inside you, just waiting for a chance to come out and play. So go ahead, be brave, try that new thing. You might just reach the top and see a whole new, wonderful view. True courage is trying, even when you feel afraid. Be brave like Abdo and Ferhat. Thank you for joining us on this little adventure today. We hope you feel inspired to find your own courage. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fun and inspiring stories for kids. See you next time.